Hi friends, morning. This is DevOps with AWS. So today we are going to discuss frequently used Git commands. We are going to discuss Git commands. Before that, before going to start Git commands, you guys know. So when we are working with distributed version controlling system, we will use Git. Right? So in distributed version controlling system, first initially where we will upload the code our local repository. Every system, right, we have local repository. First people will upload the code into that local repository. Developers will upload the code into local repository, right? So once the code is stable, once they get the conclusion everything is working as expected, then only, right, they will upload that code from local repository to remote repository. Correct. Here in local repository, it uses local mission, not local repository. In each and every individual mission, we have local repositories. Each and every individual missions, we have local repositories. And in local mission, it uses three sections, three main sections. Observe very carefully. Here, assume this is one individual mission. So in this individual mission, we have one local repository. Here, developer wrote some code. Right. First, a developer will upload this code into local repository. Here, see this local code in local machine, whatever the code developer is writing, first this code he will upload into this local repository. And once he get the conclusion like everything is working as expected, everything is working fine, then only this code will go to remote repository. Correct? You guys know. Already we discussed it. How distributed version controlling system work. Already we discussed in last session. See here, whatever the developer writing, first that code will go into this local repository, and from local repository it will go to remote repository. Here, version controlling is happening at individual developer. Version controlling is happening individual developer. Inside this local repository, whatever the code he uploaded, only this person can able to access that code. Only this person can able to see that code. Right? Other team members can't able to access the code which is available in this local repository. Other team members can't able to see the code which is available in this local repository. So this is individual developer level. Local repository, right, available at individual developer level. Each and every mission we installing on local repository, right? Now, so in local mission, Git uses three sections. If you observe it here, assume this is my local mission. So in this local mission, Git is uses three sections. What three sections Git using? First one is, this is one section, this is another section, and this is third section. In local mission, Git using three main sections. One is, the first one we call it as working directory, or workspace. Some people will call as workspace, some people will call as working directory. Anything you can call. So the first one is working directory or workspace. Right. Second one is staging area. Second one is staging area. The third one is what? Local repository. So these three sections are available. This is my local system, guys. What is this? This is my local system, local machine, individual developer machine. Right. So in this local machine, Git using three sections. Main three sections is one is workspace, second one is staging area, third one is local repository. Right. So whatever the developer is creating, see, if you are working on one project means where you will create all your files. Suppose Java person is developing one project, he is working on one project, right? For that, he need to write some programs. Where he will write all those programs, where he will put all those programs, he will create one folder. Inside that folder, he will put all the programs. First, he needs to create one folder. Inside that folder only, he will place all the programs. So that folder is called as what? Working directory or workspace. Understood? Here, observe carefully. I'm a Java developer. I'm a Java developer. And I want to create some programs for my project. I want to create some programs for my project. For that, see, in D drive, I'm going to create one folder with the name my project. In D drive, I'm creating one folder with the name my project. Right, all my project related programs, all my project related files, I will keep inside this my project folder. Here, I'm going to create some files, text files only I'm creating. So this is test one. Right. So like this, I will create multiple files. Second file, third file, fourth file, fifth file, sixth file, seventh file, eighth file, ninth file, 10th file. See, here whatever the files I created, all those files I am placing inside this my project folder. Correct. Let me change names for all these files. Rename test2, rename test3, rename test4, rename test5, rename test6, rename test7, test8, test9, test10. So like this, I created total 10 files where I placed all these files inside this folder, my project folder. Inside D drive, I created one folder with the name my project. Inside this folder, I placed all files that are required for my project. Right. So this folder, whatever we created, my project folder, this folder is called as what? Workspace. We call it as workspace or working directory. This is what I am telling it here. So first section is nothing but what? Working directory or workspace. Working directory is the folder where developer creates all the code. Inside this working directory only, developer will create all the code. So the files created in this folder are initially called as untracked files. Whatever the programs developer is creating in this folder, all those programs are called as untracked programs, right? So let me write that point. First one, it uses three main sections in local mission. It uses three main sections in local mission. What is three main sections? One is working directory or workspace. Working directory or workspace. Second one is staging area. Staging area. Third one is local repository. These are the three main sections Git using in local machine. These are the three main sections Git using in local machine. First one is workspace. Second one is staging area. Third one is local repository. Now, what is workspace? What is workspace? Workspace is the folder. Workspace is the folder where developer will create the all programs. Workspace is the folder where developer will create all the programs. Where developer will create all the programs. Will create all the programs. Right? So initially, the files which are created by developer, initially we call it as what? Untracked files. The files created in this folder are initially called as untracked files. The files which are created in this folder initially called as untracked files. Read the statement, guys. Git uses three main sections in local machine. One is working directory or workspace. Second one is staging area. Third one is local repository. Okay. Right. First up, what is workspace? Workspace is the folder where a developer will create all the programs. Right. Inside that workspace only, developer will create all the programs. Next, so the files which are created in this folder initially called as untracked files. The files which are created in this folder initially called as untracked files. Right. So next one is what? Staging area. Here, next section is what? Staging area. Staging area. What is the staging area? So this is kind of a memory location. So this staging area is kind of a memory location. Right. So here, whatever the programs developer is creating in this folder, those files are called as untracked files. Before going those files into this local repository, first all those files will come to this staging area. Right? Before going these files into local repository, first all the programs will come to this staging area. Right? This staging area is nothing but what? It is a memory kind of thing. It is local memory kind of thing. Right? Staging area is the intermediate buffer zone. Buffer zone, right, into which files move from the working directory. First, the files will move from working directory to staging area. Staging area is what? It is a kind of buffer zone. Right? From staging area to files will come to this local repository. Right? So let me add that point. First, the files will come from working directory to staging area. So what is the staging area? Staging area is a kind of buffer zone. Staging area is a buffer zone. Right? The files which are in staging area, what we call the files are called as staging files. So the files which are in staging area are called as staging files. Read this statement, guys. What is the second section? Second section is a staging area. Right? Before going into local repository, first the files will come to this staging area. Right. So this staging area is nothing but what? It's kind of buffer zone, memory location. Right. The files which are available in staging area are called as what? Staging files. The files which are available in staging area are called as staging files. See here, guys, in working directory, workspace, whatever the files we have, we call it as untracked files. Right. So our working directory to staging area, it will come. All the files will come from working directory to staging area. We call it as staging files. The files which are available in staging area are called as staging files. Right. Next one is a local repository. Whenever we did the commit operation, whenever we did the commit operation, then those files will come from staging area to local repository. Local repository where version controlling happens, and all those files coming from staging area move into local repository. Here, staging area to local repository. When you did the commit operation, when you did the commit operation, then the files will come from the files will move from staging area to local repository. Staging area to local repository. What is this local repository? Where version controlling is happening. That is local repository. Local repository is where version controlling is happens. Where version controlling is happens. That is the local repository. They read this statement, guys. Git uses three main sections in local machine. One is working directory, second one is staging area, third one is local repository. Right? So first one is called as what? Working directory. Working directory is the folder where developer will create all the programs. Right? Developer is writing set of programs where all those set of programs are placed inside this working space. Right? The files which are created in this folder initially called as untracked files. The files which are available in working directory initially we call it as untracked files. First, the files will come from working directory to staging area. What is the staging area? It is a kind of buffer zone. It is a kind of memory location, right? So the files which are available in the storage staging area are called as what? Staging files. Untracked files, staging files. Untracked files means that the files which we are creating inside the working space, inside the working directory. Those files are called untracked files. The files which are available in staging area, those files are called as staging files. Next, when you did the commit operation, then the files will move from staging area to local repository. Right? What is this local repository? Right? Where version controlling is happening, that is called the local repository. Right? In local repository, only all version controlling is happening. Three main aspects already we discussed. Already we discussed it. Creating single project, taking code from all individual systems and creating a single project, and maintaining different versions. For each commit, it will maintain separate versions. Third one is it will track the details of the right person who uploaded the code, at what time he uploaded, right, what code he uploaded, that kind of information also it will track it. So all that process, where all that process will happen inside this local repository, right? Version controlling is happens, that is called as what? Local repository. That is called. Clear, guys? Please go through these steps once. This is the diagram. Sorry. In local mission, version controlling using three main sections. Version controlling, sorry, Git using three main sections only. Sorry. In local mission, Git uses three main sections. One is working directory or workspace. Second one is a staging area. Third one is local repository. Right. First, initially, developer will create some programs. Initially, developer will create some programs. Where developer will create the programs inside this working directory. Whatever the files available in the folder, whatever the files are available in this folder, initially we call it as what? Untracked file set. Next, the files will come from working directory to staging area. What is the staging area? It is intermediate buffer zone between working directory and local repository. It is a intermediate buffer zone between working directory and a local repository. Right. So the files will come from working directory to staging area. So whatever the files we have in the staging area are called as staging files. Right. Here you need to apply commit. Here you need to apply commit. Once you did the commit operation, the files will move from staging area to local repository. So in this local repository only all version controlling aspects will happen. Clear, guys? So what is the staging area? It is intermediate buffer zone between working directory and local repository. Let me add that point properly. Uh, First files will come from working directory to staging area. Staging area is the intermediate buffer zone between working directory and local repository. Okay, clear? Guys, these three things you guys need to remember. It uses three main sections in local mission. One is working directory, second one is staging area, third one is local repository. Right? So what is this working directory? Where developer will create all the programs. Right? The files which are created in this folder initially called as what? Untracked files. Right. First up, the files will come from working directory to staging area. Staging area is a intermediate buffer zone between working directory and a local repository. So whatever the files we have in this staging area, we call it as staging files. Right. We need to apply commit operation on the files we have in staging area. And when you did commit operation, then the files will move from staging area to local repository. And what is this local repository? Where version controlling is happening. That is the local repository. Clear? Guys, already we installed Git in our system. Git we installed already. Git bash is the application through which we will execute the Git commands. If you want to execute Git commands, we need one application which is Git bash. Whenever you install Git in your system, you will get Git bash also automatically. See here, you can search Git bash. See here, you can see Git bash. So this is the Git bash. So this is the Git bash. When you install Git in your system, automatically you will get this Git bash. Here only we are going to execute all our commands. Here only we are going to execute all our Git commands. Most of the Linux commands can be executed in Git bash also. Most of the Linux commands can be executed in Git bash also. Right. See, let me run one command pw pwd. What it is giving? What it is giving? Pwd. 1 minute. Let me increase the size. Options. Text. Font. Okay. Right. So now here, just to give pwd, what it will do. See, pwd is nothing but what? Present working directory. Pw is nothing but present working directory. It is a Linux command. What it is giving? What it is giving? It is giving current working directory location. Head C drive users. This is some number is there, and it is giving present working directory. It is giving what? Present working directory. So now, if you want to move, if you want to move from one location to another location, what we need to do? Change directory cd /d slash, and we created my project, right? My project. See, now we changed it. We changed D drive my project. D drive my project. We came on. Right now, just type pwd. So now it is giving. Now we are in inside D drive and inside my project. D drive inside my project we are in. Present working directory it is giving like this. Initially present working directory what it give? C users slash this number. Now D slash my project it is giving, right? So like this we need to change the directory cd. CD we can use, otherwise like this also we can do it. Go to that location, my project, right? Here right click, open Git bash. Git bash here. Just click on this Git bash here. You will get like this. You will get like this. Anything you can do. Anything you can do it. Now here first what we need to do initially. First thing, and once you open the Git bash, first thing what you need to do. After opening this Git bash, first thing what we need to do it. Generally, the first thing which we will do is, so we have to set a username and email address. We have to set username and email globally for all the users who are accessing this Git. We need to create username and email for all the users who are going to access Git from this mission. from this mission, whoever going to access Git for those people, we need to set username and email. How you will do that activity? Like this: git config git config global global username. I'm taking. So here I will give username Raju. He does not contains 1 minute, guys. Okay. Here hyphen I gave a dot user dot name. Username created. Same password we need to give it. Password here, sorry, not password, email. User dot email. User dot email. Here I'm going to give eltoraj0525 at the rate gmail.com. Like this, I'm giving email ID also. The email also created. See, first activity after opening the Git, what is the first activity we need to do? What is the first activity we need to do? We need to set a username and email for all the users. And we need to set the username and email globally. Default username and email we need to set. If I want to see that what username and email is created, I want to see how we can able to see. For that, this is the command: git config hyphen global. We are creating globally, right? So git config hyphen global hyphen list. And username Raju is available. Email mail to raj0525 at the rate gmail.com is available. So these things globally we are setting, right? First activity we need to set username and email globally. For that, so these are the commands which we need to use. Git config hyphen global user dot name Raju. Git config hyphen global user dot email. So this is the email ID we need to give. Suppose if you want to see what default username and email is available, so this is the command: git config hyphen global hyphen list. It will return the default credentials and it will return the default credential. Clear? What is the next thing we need to do? Let me check Git status. See what it is returning. Not a Git repository. Not a Git repository. See here where we are inside my project folder. What it is telling that my project folder is not a Git repository. It is telling it. What it is telling, my project folder is not a Git repository. Right? If you want to make this my project folder as a Git repository, what we need to do? What it is telling here? So this folder is not a Git repository. If you want to make this folder as a Git repository, we need to initialize it. We need to initialize this folder as a Git repository. For that, so this is the command which we need to use: git init. Git init. Now what it will happen? Internally, one .git file will create it. Internally, one .git file. Here what we are doing, to initialize working directory as a Git repository. This is the working directory. If you want to initialize this working directory as a Git repository, we need to use this command, git init command. What this command is doing? What it will do? It will create one hidden folder internally. Create one hidden folder with the .git name. Internally, it is creating one hidden folder with name .git, where it will store all the configurations related to Git. Suppose if you want to work with a Java project, so we need some configuration files or not. If you want to run a Java project, we need some configuration files. Same way, if you want to work with Git also, we need some configurations. We need some configurations. How you will get those configurations? If you run this git init command, right, it will create one file with the .git name. So what that dot .git file folder contains? What that .git folder contains? It contains all configuration related things. Whenever we run this command, it will create one folder with the name .git. What it contains? It contains all configurations information. To run Git, whatever the configurations are required, all those configurations are available inside that folder. So now, so can you able to see that folder? No, that is the hidden folder. See, done it. So now Git status. See, so these are the files we have in test 1, test 2, test 3, test 4. Right? So these files are available. Right? So now, can you able to see that Git folder here? No, that is the hidden folder. So that is the hidden folder. So whatever the files we created in working directory, workspace, already I told guys, already I told. So inside this folder, whatever the files you are creating, initially we called these files as untracked files. Whatever the files we are creating inside this working directory, initially we call it as untracked files. Now observe it here. All these files, whatever we created in that directory, we call it as what? Untracked files. All these 10 files are called it as untracked files. Where we have all these files? Inside working directory. See, inside my project, I created 10 files, 10 programs, 10 Java programs. Initially, all these files are called as what? Untracked files. Inside this directory, inside this working directory or workspace, whatever the files we created, initially we call it as untracked files. And see, here same thing it is showing. So in that directory, in my project folder directory, whatever the files we created, it is showing all the files with the name untracked files. Untracked files. And suppose if you want to see that .git folder also, if you want to see that .git folder also, which command we need to use? Which command you need to use? See here, list. I'm using list command, ls command. Right. See, ls command I'm using it here. At here, it is showing only 10 files and whatever the 10 files we created, so those 10 files only it is showing. It is not showing that .git folder. If you want to see that .git folder also, right, ls space hyphen a, ls space hyphen a. So now see, all 10 files you are getting and the .git folder also you are getting. ls means it will show, it will list out all the files which we are created inside the working directory. So inside this working directory, whatever the files we created, it will list out all the files. If you want to see that .git folder also, we need to use this command ls space hyphen a. So what it will give? It will give that .git folder also. Along with untracked files, it will give .git folder also. Okay, clear this? Right. So now just run git status. Where we have these files, guys? Right. These files we have in working directory, inside working space. Right. Whatever the files which we created inside that working directory, initially we call it as untracked files. See, here we have it. Now the files here we have. Here we have the files and all the files here we have. Right. So now all the files will move from working directory to this staging area. All the files will move from working directory to this staging area. Staging area. How the files will move from working directory to staging area? Which command we need to use? Which command we need to use? It's simply we need to do like this in the git add add file name test one. Test one I'm using. It git add test test one dot t. See and see now run git status once again. Git status. So you can see the difference. Right now in staging area we have test1.txt file is available. In staging area, we have only one file with the name test1.txt. Changes to be committed. Right. For committing, this file is ready. Right. You can commit this file. Right. So the files which we have, which are available in staging area, those files only we can commit it. The files which we have in staging area, those files only we can commit. So in staging area, which file is available? Test1.txt. See, changes to be committed. Changes to be committed. Only this file is available for commit. Only this file is available for commit. Remaining 9 files still are in untracked files only. Right. Now inside working directory we have 9 files. Now inside staging area we have this file. Observe it here. So now inside this working directory we have 9 files. Now inside this staging area we have one file. In staging area, whatever the file is available, that file is ready for the commit. You can commit this file. Whenever you do commit operation on this file, so this file will move from staging area to local repository. Understood, guys? Initially, whatever the files we are creating inside this working directory, we call it as untracked files. If you want to commit those files, if you want to move those files to local repository, first you need to move from working directory to staging area. Right? You need to move from working directory to staging area. Here you need to apply commit operation. You can apply commit operation only on the files which are available in the staging area. Right? Here you will apply commit operation, then the files will move from staging area to local repository. Understood? So now, which files are available for commit? Only one file, which is test1.txt. Remaining 9 files still available in working directory only. Suppose if you want to move more than one file, suppose if you want to move more than one file to staging area, how you can do? Git add test2.txt space test3.txt space test4.txt, like this. Like this, you can give multiple files. The space separator. So with the space separator, you can give multiple files like this. Now click enter. Now see. Now see. Now run status command. Git status. See how many files are ready for commit? 4 files. Test1, test2, test3, test4. All these 4 files are ready for commit. You can commit these 4 files. Remaining files still in working directory only. You can't able to commit these files. If you want to commit, first you need to move from working directory to staging area. Then only you can apply commit. Then only you can apply commit. For commit now, how many files are ready? These 4 files are ready for commit now. These 4 files are ready for commit. Suppose from staging area to, again you want to send it back and I don't want to commit. By mistake I added one file to this staging area. Right? By mistake and not wantedly. By mistake I added one file to the staging area. Again I want to send that file back to this working directory. I don't want to commit. There was some mistakes. There was some mistakes in that file, so I can't able to commit. I want to send it back to working directory, that file. How we can able to do? Now inside this staging area, whatever the files are available, I want to move those files to back to working directory. Inside this staging area, what files are available? I want to move those files back to working directory. I don't want to commit. By mistake, I added these files to staging area. So which command you need to run? Which command you need to run to send it back to working directory? Hmm? Then before that, one more command will see. See here, you guys know how to add single file and how to add multiple files. Suppose assume you have total 1,000 files. All 1,000 files you want to move at a time from working directory to staging area. Assume in your working directory 1,000 files are available. All 1,000 files you need to move from working directory to staging area. Right? How you will do? Right? Git add. Right here test1, test2, test3, test4, test 1,000. Is it good programming practice to add like that? Is it good programming practice? Here, taking all 1,000 files with comma separator is correct. Sorry, with the space separator, is it correct? No. And if you want to move all 1,000 files at a time, so we need to use this command. Which command you need to use? Git add space dot command we need to use. Git add space dot command, it will move all the files which are available in working directory to staging area. It will move all the files to staging area from working directory. Just press enter button. Now just type git status. So now all the files are in staging area. You can see. You can see, and here in untracked section, we don't have anything. Now we don't have anything as untracked. Everything is in staging area only. Now you can commit all these files. You can commit all these files and right. Suppose if you want to send it back to working directory, if you want to send it back from staging area to working directory, what we need to do? Which command is available? See, like this. Here only you can see. Here only use git space rm space hyphen hyphen catch file name to unstage. To unstage means sending back to working directory. Staging area to unstaged area if you want to send the files. So this is the command which you need to use. So this is the command which you need to use. Let me try this one. Git rm hyphen hyphen catched hyphen hyphen catched file name test1.txt. And now just type git status. One file is untracked stage. One file is in working directory. Right, like this. Vice versa, you can do it. You can move from working directory to staging area, and you can move from staging area to unstaged area. Suppose by mistake, if you move any file to staging area, how you can send it back? By using this command. By using this command and git rm hyphen hyphen catch file name you need to give. Then that file will move from staging area to untracked files. Up to here clear? Up to here clear? And add this file also. Git add start. So now git status. So now we don't have any files in untracked area, right? So now I'm going to apply commit operation. Now here I'm going to apply commit operation. Git commit, git commit hyphen m, git commit hyphen m. Here we need to give some comment. Here we need to give some comment. What comment we need to give? Here what comment we need to do? One more thing. 1 minute. Before doing this commit operation, I will move some files to untracked state. Git rm hyphen hyphen attached file name test1 dot. Okay. Now git status. So these are the files. So these are the files we have in staging area. This file we have in untracked state. Now apply commit. Git commit hyphen m. Right now here I am going to take first commit. And git commit hyphen m. Here you need to pass some message. Commit message you can give anything. Commit message you can give anything. Here I am giving first commit. Now click enter button. So all these files got committed. All these files got committed. All these files moved to local repository. All these files moved to local repository. Now check git status. See, only one file we have in untracked stage. Only one file we have in untracked stage, and remaining 9 files, where remaining 9 files are available inside a local repository. Whenever we applied commit operation, in that case, whatever the files we have in staging area, all those files will move to this local repository. Now inside this local repository, we have all 9 files. One file we have in working directory. Is clear? Right. So now again I'm going to move this file also to local repository. Right. Git add dot. Now this file will move to untracked stage to staging area. Git status. Right. So now I'm going to commit this. Git commit -m second commit. Second commit is the commit message I'm giving. Right. Now it now we don't have anything to commit. See, and here I run git status. You don't have anything to commit. So we don't have anything in staging area or we don't have anything in working directory. All the files are moved to local repository. All the files are moved to local repository. Here guys. Now I want to see total how many commits are there in local repository. How many versions are available in local repository, how many things are, how many commits we did, I want to see total how many commits I did, I want to check. How we can able to see? Git space log, git space log, git space log, and here what it is giving, here what it is giving, it is giving 1 minute. Here git log I type, git log I typed here. Wait guys, 1 minute. See, here git log, what it is showing, this information it is showing. Second commit, first commit. Total we did 2 commits. Total we did 2 commits. Right. Other Raju and email with this details, with this credentials. 2 commits are happened. Second commit and first commit. So what is this one? This is the commit ID. So this is the commit ID. Whatever the number it is showing, this is the commit ID. So this guy is the other who did the commit. This guy is the other. So when you did commit operation, it will track all the details and it will track all the details on which time, right, he did the commit, right, who committed the files, what is the commit ID, all this information you can see like this. Second commit done by this person, right, first commit done by this person, like this you can see all the details. 2 commits are happened. First commit, so this is the commit message. First commit, second commit, this is the commit message. So this is the commit ID. So this is the author who did the commit operation. These details you can track. Right. Clear? Suppose if you feel this commit ID is too long, you feel this commit ID is too long, I want short commit ID. That also you can get it. How you can get? Git log hyphen one line, hyphen one line. You give like this. And so first one is the commit ID. See, this is the commit ID. Right. This is the commit message. Commit ID, commit message. Like this, you can able to see it. See, in one line you are getting the commit ID. Here, what you will get commit ID in the sense, what you are getting commit ID means. Hmm? Initially, 7 digits and first 7 digits you are getting. See, up to here you are getting 04 E8 A7F. Here also 7704 C7C you are getting. First 7 digits you will get as the commit ID. Next commit message you will get it. And if you give git log, you will get complete details like this. If you want to see in single line, one line, right, this is the command git log hyphen one line, and then you will get like this. Clear, guys? What we have seen, guys, initially we just set the main folder where the developer will create the code is called as working directory. There some Java programs or some kind of programs are there, right? Your intention is you want to send these files into local repository, so version controlling can happen there only. What is your intention? You have to send all the files to local repository where version controlling is happening. But in between, before you send it to the local repository, there is an area called the staging area. The command git add dot and git space add space dot to move all the files into staging area we will use. Then you say git command, and there are two things we are doing, right? We are creating some files inside this working directory. If you want to move all the files from this working directory to staging area, just this command we need to use, git space add space dot we need to give it. If you give this command, all the files will move from this working directory to staging area. Right? Then you can apply committed. How you will apply commit? Git commit. Git commit and hyphen m, and here message it. Here some message you need to give it. Git message you need to give. You can give anything. You can give anything, and git message we need to give it. So this is the command we need to use to commit the file set. So this is the command we need to use to move the files from working directory to staging area. Understood? So what is our intention? We need to move all the files to remote repository where version controlling is happening. Where version controlling is happening? In this remote local repository only. In this local repository only. So we need to move all the files from working directory to local repository. Between we have one area which is called staging area. This is intermediate buffer zone. So before sending the files to local repository, first it will go to this staging area. From this staging area, it will go to local repository. If you want to move from working directory to staging area, we need to use this command git space add dot. If you want to apply commit operation, right, this is the command which we need to use. Right now, first, this is my working directory which I created. So now I want to, right, initially what I want to do, and initially what I want to do to initialize this working directory. This is the working directory. To initialize this working directory as a Git repository. If you want to initialize this working directory as a Git repository, we need to use this command, git init command. Init means initialization. Init command we need to use it. Git init. To initialize the working directory as a Git repository, this command we need to do it. Right? Suppose if you are not doing operation, directly you are using some Git status command like this. Right? Those commands are not going to work. Right? If you want to run those Git commands, some configurations are required. If you want to run those Git commands, some configurations are required. How you will get those configuration? Whenever you initialize this working directory as a Git repository by using this command, then it will create one .git folder internally, hidden folder. This .git folder is the hidden folder. Whenever you run this command, it will create one folder with the name .git. So what this folder contains? It contains all the required configuration files. To run git commands, whatever the configuration files are required, all those configuration files are available in this .git folder. How you will get this .git folder? Whenever you run this git init command, automatically you will get this right, .git folder. Automatically you will get .git folder. Inside this .git folder, what we have? We have all the configurations. We have all the configurations inside this .git folder. Right, then you can apply all git commands and git status, ls hyphen a, git add file name, git add multiple files like file name space, file name space, file name space, then git add dot, So this commit command, everything you can run it. Before executing these commands, compulsory you should have this folder. What is the purpose of this folder? So this folder contains all required configuration files to run our Git commands. How you will get this folder? When you run this git init command, you will get this .git hidden folder in your system. Clear, guys? Are they clear? Right. Let me write the commands at here. Setting username and email globally for all users. For all users. What we need to use? Git git config hyphen global space user dot name. Here we need to give the name. Here I am giving my name like this. Right. So next, if you want to set email, git config hyphen global user dot email. And here we need to give email. Like this, we need to give the email. This is the first step we are doing. Next, what we are doing? Right. So if you want to initialize the working directory as a Git repository, initialize working directory as a Git repository. To initialize working directory as a Git repository, which command we need to use? This is the command git init. Git init. What it will do? It will create one hidden folder with the name dot git. With the name dot git. With this name, it will create one hidden folder. It contains all required configurations. What it contains, where it will store all the configurations related to Git. Where it will store all the configurations related to Git. So this is the second command. Once once you make working directory as a Git repository, now you can run all the commands. See here, to list out all the files which we have in working directory. To list out all the files which we have in working directory. Which command we need to use? Which command we need to use it here? Git ls. Git lsn. Right? To see that hidden folder also. To see hidden folder also. What command we need to use? Git ls. Git ls hyphen a. Git ls hyphen a. Right? This is the file. Next. To send a file from working directory to staging area. To move a file from working directory to staging area. Command we need to use. Here we need to use git add file name. Git add file name we need to use it. Right. So next, to move more than or multiple files. To move multiple files from working directory to staging area. Which command you need to use? Git add file 1 space, file 2 space, file 3, etc. Like this you need to give it. Next, to move all the files at a time from working directory to staging area. What you need to do? Here just like this. Git add hyphen a. Git add hyphen a. What? Sorry. To move all the files at a time from working directory to staging area. Git add space dot. Git add space dot. What this dot will do? Dot represents present working directory. Right. So what it is telling? Add all the files which we have in present working directory. Dot will represent the present working directory. Note, dot will represent present working directory. What we are telling by this command, that in this present working directory, whatever the files are available, move all those files to staging area. Right, guys? So next one. Next, if you want to remove the files from staging area and send it back to working directory, if you want to remove the files from staging area and send it back to working directory. Send it back to working directory. Which command we need to use? Git rm remove, and rm means remove. Rm hyphen attached that file name. Which file you want to remove from staging area? That file name we need to give it. Whenever you remove file from staging area, it will go to untracked files again. Right? Otherwise, you can use this one also. Sorry. This one also you can git reset. Git reset file name. Anything you can use. Git reset file name also you can use it. Next, to send files from staging area to local repository. To send files from staging area to local repository. Which command we need to use? Command we need to do the commit operation, right? So this one, git commit hyphen m, here commit message we need to give it. That's it. Git commit hyphen m commit message we need to give it here. Some message, anything you can give it, right? Next, to see the status of untracked files. How you can see Git status. Git status. You can see the status and what untracked files are available, what staging files are available, everything you can see it here. Right? Next and very, very important this to see the to see to see the list of commits, to see the list of commits so that are done on local repository. Whatever the commits are done on local repository, if you want to see whatever the commits are done on local repository, so this is the command git log. Git log, right? Suppose if you want to see that commit history in one line, to see the commit history in one line, then you need to give this command git log, git log hyphen one line, git log hyphen one line. Clear? So these are the commands which we practiced in today's session. So these are the commands which we practiced in today's session. Right? To set the name and email globally, we need to use these commands. To set the global right username and pass email globally, we need to use these commands. Right? So after that, if you want to see details and whatever the username and email you set globally, if you want to see those list, right, which command we need to use? Sorry, here I forget to add that. To see the list of default default settings and default set, or how you can able to see here, this is the command git config hyphen global hyphen listed. This is the command. Here all these commands are clear. Does it clear all these commands? So in last session we discussed how to install Git. Please do that activity. After that, practice all these commands. Right. So in our local mission, Git using three sessions and Git uses these three sessions: working directory, staging area, local repository. So where all version controlling is happening, that is called local repository. In this local repository only, all version controlling is happening at individual person level. Right, before sending the files to local repository, first all the files will go to this staging area. Right, to send the files from working directory to staging area, this is the command which we need to use. Right, so we can apply the commit operation on the files which we have in this staging area by using this command. Right, initially to initialize working directory as a Git repository, we need to use this init command, git init command. Whenever you run this command, internally one .git folder will be created and it contains all the configuration details. This is what we discussed in today's session. Clear? Fine. Thank you. So we'll continue tomorrow. We'll see some of the commands in tomorrow's session. Thank you guys. In tomorrow's session, right, we'll see what is branching, how to create the branch, what is a master branch, Right? How to create a child branch and all those things we'll discuss in tomorrow's session. Thanks, guys. Guys, whoever watching in YouTube, please subscribe this channel, guys. Please subscribe and like this channel.